Hey, how you doing? Welcome to part 3 of my interview with Josh, the Warmaster Barnett. In this one, he asks me quite a lot of questions, and in the main, we kind of talk about the future of catch and how we're going to change the world.
Now for you, look, I know your journey
Yeah.
better than most. What, where do you find yourself as a catch wrestler these days in this world of jiu-jitsu?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, because I discovered catch wrestling relatively late in my martial arts career, so I was never going to be particularly good at it. But I mean, I've trained with some of the best there have been, so I think that helps. I've gathered a lot of knowledge, so I mean, I'm not. I'm very happy to get on the mats. I've always been willing to get up and wrestle anyone. One of my first memories of catch was at the Snake Pit, and I found myself facing Chris Crossan, and he
Mhm.
literally threw me through the fire doors, and I landed in an allotment outside, in amongst some old man's potatoes that he was growing, and then when I came back in, he neck cranked me beyond. But I mean, I've never really minded losing, so. But I mean, I'm kind of I've become the deck that nobody wants to roll with in jiu-jitsu, because a lot of the stuff I do is considered a little bit dirty, and it's just
Well,
because I've just got.
that is some softness because I know you, Oz, and I know you're not brutalizing people in the same way that maybe you could, or that maybe even somebody with a bit more weight behind him could. But it's some of that stuff is just really minor things, really, like
It is, but
putting an elbow
you
on the face and cross facing them, turning
yeah,
them, pinning them. Yeah.
when you kneel on someone's face when you put a double wrist lock on, or you neck crank someone because it's just there,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, but
But that's common human hypocrisy.
it is,
And
but
with jiu-jitsu, everything was all rosy and golden as long as you didn't touch their legs. Now they love doing leg locks. It's
yeah,
like, well, come on,
yeah,
let's just, it's not a negative to say you were wrong, but it is
yes.
pretty petty to be like, oh, well, now that it's accepted in our community and we've managed to get good at it, now it's cool and okay. When we
Yeah,
were doing this since day one, try
especially
not to
when you
be.
look back at the newspaper reports and the matches from
Mhm.
120 years ago, when jiu-jitsu fighters were first meeting up with wrestlers, and it was the wrestlers saying, "Oh no, don't do that, you can't use any of these dangerous moves on us." And
Mhm.
now it's the jiu-jitsu guys are going, "Oh no, don't do that, no, oh, you're not a brown belt, you're not allowed to do that, you can't be above me." It's like, I fucking can. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one thing if you're in a sanctioned competition and they have their structures, but in
Yeah,
the gym, if they
yeah,
don't want you tearing someone's foot off, I get it. But
yes,
this is the same BJJ that has like kids out there going and heel hooking each other. And it's like,
yeah,
what are you doing? But even still, I just feel like a gym is a gym, a mat's a mat, and
yes,
you should be growing unless you're doing specific competition prep. Like just go out there and train.
yeah,
If it's a neck crank,
absolutely,
it's a neck crank. If it's
yeah,
a choke, whatever. I mean, if you were on the street where martial arts still has to apply, no one's gonna go, oh, I'll let go of this chokehold because technically that's illegal in the type of
yeah,
catch you do. It's only face locks.
yeah.
It's not gonna fly. And yet the snake pit in Wigan, they use that older specific set of rules. It's fine, but it's a
Do you know,
sport, you know.
I don't have any issues with people saying these are the rules we're going to fight to. It's fine.
Yeah.
You've got to have some, and there's
Mm-hmm.
always going to be stuff that you're allowed to do and stuff you're not. It's just not a problem. And I think you run the risk of becoming really, really kind of focused. But then you look at something like Scottish backhold wrestling. I love Scottish backhold wrestling, and it's incredibly limited in what you can do. But what that means
Mm-hmm.
is they've got really good at that,
Mm-hmm.
and so if you want to look at an over under with your arms clenched behind the other person, look at Scottish backhold, because they can do all sorts of shit. They can't do anything
Mm-hmm.
else, but they're great at that. But I guess, I mean, going back to what we were saying, I get two kinds of responses from people. And I'm very lucky that Matt, my coach, Brett, he's first degree black belt under Andy Roberts and Roger Gracie. But he's incredibly chilled out. He wrestles, he does all sorts. He doesn't care what you do. It's fine. In the gym, do what you want. It's not a problem. As long as you're careful, as long as you don't hurt people on purpose, it's not an issue. So, we don't slam people when it's busy, that kind of thing. But people either respond by going, "Oh, that's fine. No, I'm not going to roll with you, and I'll duck you from now on when it comes to rolling," or they turn up at my catch class and go, "Show me that. I want to know."
I love the fact that there are people that dodge Oz because he gives it to him.
I'm gobsmacked by it. I'm 50 years old. I'm overweight, and I am. Let's face it, a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, and people dock me, and it's like, what's going on? What is the world coming to?
You know what? Let me add this to your resume. Start doing a good push-pull routine with some weight training. Nice, lots of close grip rows, underhand pull downs, curls, tricep extensions, close grip bench, and incline bench, and just build that upper body frame and core workup, and then start locking in on those arm locks and those headlocks and things like that. And then let's see what they're going to say. Despite the injury to your knee, like, you could build a hell of an upper body to go with that. And, then you could say dad bod, dad strength.
At the moment, it's all the power belly at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, but in addition to you as a catch guy now incorporating into the jiu-jitsu world and community as a whole, how is it received amongst the other martial arts endeavors that you're involved in, and the mentality of competition and use successful application of skill? Like, it's not enough to go through the motions and do the patterns. If you're doing HEMA, yes, it's like, that's great, but can you actually hit someone in the head with it?
Yeah, and again, I mean, that's an interesting one, because there are definitely two kind of groups of people. I mean, my kind of HEMA background has been heavily slanted towards unarmed stuff, looking at early forms of boxing, classical pugilism, folk wrestling, some of the kind of obscure stuff. And that's how I discovered Catch as Catch Can was a thing, and then found out about Billy Robinson and got to try. It's kind of how I got into it. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of a community of people that I've almost dragged kicking and screaming with me out of wearing fancy floofy trousers and waving long swords around into proper wrestling, and we're very much in the minority. But in all honesty, I'm not really part of that anymore, because I'd much rather just go down the road and get on the mats and roll with those guys. And sometimes you're the hammer and sometimes you're the nail, but you always have a good day, as long as if you're on the mats, it's a better day than not being on the mats. So, yeah, but that being said, there are people. I mean, you met Lauren and Chris and Sue and people like that they came from the HEMA community, and they're still doing catch, and they're spreading the word and bringing people in, and it's not international competitive level, but people know catch is a thing that didn't know catch was a thing before. So,
well, what about the people in the jiu-jitsu school? Is there any potential competitors from the BJJ side of things that would be interested in doing catch?
Yes, yeah, there are a few. There's a couple of guys in my group, and we're very new. I've only started sort of teaching catch there maybe 2 months ago, but we're up to double figures in the class, and there's a few guys with a lot of potential, and there's some guys who have competed in jiu-jitsu that are now wanting to compete in catch. We've got one guy he's competed kickboxing, Muay Thai and K1 quite a lot, and he's looking to move into MMA, and he's doing catch with me and getting up and training with Brad Pickett as well. And there's definitely some movement there. But I think, I mean, from my perspective, in all honesty, this, I think, is my biggest opportunity to help the art, because fine, I live in the middle of nowhere in rural Hampshire, and if I'm lucky, I'll get 12 people in a room
Mhm.
but I can talk here and get a video with 300,000-400,000 views,
Mhm.
and I'd really like to think that this is how we spread the word a little.
Did you send did any of these guys have any interest in doing the British Championships that the Snake Pit just held?
I think it's a bit early for them, but
Mhm.
I mean I've kind of seeded the idea of competing, and I think maybe the first thing to do is to find someone not too far away that might be willing to do like a little catch into club
Oh,
and
that's going to
just
be difficult. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's ASW
yeah,
has catch related stuff,
yeah,
obviously Bolton and
absolutely,
Wigan. But then he's a gamer,
yeah,
Crossan and his LPW guys. I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
they do try to
that's
come and compete.
that's who I'm thinking is probably Chris Crossan is the person. But that being said, we're officially part of Team Cowbon.
Mhm.
So there's a gym up in Liverpool and there's a gym in Wigan. We had um, Mike Grundy down fairly recently doing some wrestling for us down in our gym. So there's getting up to the northwest isn't out of the question.
Mhm.
I just
Isn't that what all those lovely trains are for?
yeah, God, in this
So
country.
I remember flying into Manchester and only spending £5 to go to Bolton. So
Yeah, it's getting past London is the difficult bit. It's really expensive if getting past London. When you're up there, yeah. But I mean, we'll just get a minibus and get us all in and have a road trip.
yeah,
Get
that could work too.
get a
And I
case of
guess
beer in the back. It's fine.
my ultimate point is that that which exists, we have to connect with it. We just
Yes.
have to, we have to make the efforts to try and go to where things are. And speaking of Chris, he came out in February to come and wrestle,
Yeah.
and he was going to do the amateur tournament. And I was like, how about I set you up some pro matches instead? Well, let's do it that way.
Yeah.
And he was as game as could be, went out there, did his thing. It was great. And it was just people being a part of the overall journey. Nick Kajia flew himself from Jersey out to go and compete this most recent one. And, Harry came from Calgary, the one
Yeah.
before. So, we're trying to do what we can. And I'm always thankful for as many people that can make a journey and get on the mats with us. But we just are at a deficit. We don't have the luxury. And I'll say this too: the local jiu-jitsu community has suffered a lot recently too. And I think some of it may be due to COVID residuals, perhaps. And I don't mean in the virus. I mean
Mm.
just in the mentality of people.
Yes.
But because there is a general malaise in the world. There's like a weird hyper hustle that's very meaningless, it feels like, very shallow. But there's also like a very deep kind of nihilistic malaise that has only increased, which is not really good for motivation
Mm.
into things that ultimately usually don't pay off into any like real substantial monetary gain or anything of that matter. It's more of a doing it for the sake of doing it, the meaningfulness of it. Um, but also, I think a lot of competitions, local tournaments kind of went under. But also, I think it's this kind of fake pro mentality of these competitions where they'll put blue belts and purples and whatever and pay them off of ticket sales, and it's like, and now these guys are like, oh well, I'm 2-2 as a professional. It's like,
Yeah.
you're a purple belt. You've done nothing. You really won nothing. Like you've made like $100 because of the tickets you sold before. Like, get over it. Well, am I going to get paid? No, you're not good enough to get paid. I'm sorry, I'm not paying you
Yeah.
for. It's just you're just a run of the mill dude or dudette. Like,
Yes.
forget it. But now it's like this idea that, oh, now I need money, and it's like, I,
Yeah.
no, that's not the way it works, And we're gonna go to the world championships not because we're gonna make any money, but because the prestige of
Yeah.
competing, you know.
Well, do you know for sure that you're definitely coming?
I'm 99%
Okay,
positive that
well
we're going to
then
be able to raise the money.
let's talk then, because we can definitely organise some seminars and make some money, and hopefully get you a bit of money to help offset some of the costs that way.
Oh, it'd be lovely. And
Yeah,
to just, and even then with the I've been posting my GoFundMe on all the different pages and groups around catch wrestling,
yep.
but how many
I'll
have
put the link.
actually
Yeah,
have actually donated? I don't know. Some of them have, and I appreciate everything we can get, from the little to the from
yeah,
the small to the grand. It doesn't matter. But sometimes, man, I feel like there's a lot of talk and not a lot of action. And even that's like just putting your money down to try and support. Well, they're the wrong people. I don't want to support them. It's like, okay, I don't know what you're going to do.
yeah.
I can imagine there's a few people I can think of off the top of my head that I bet they haven't given a red cent to it. But yet, their whole thing is being catch.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because, if we, at the end of the day, I mean, we could all fight it out on the mats at some point, and that's fine. But we can't make the venue to have the mats if we don't actually work together. It doesn't mean like you can't have your own interests that technically that at the end of the time supersede mine. It's
Yeah,
fine, and you can be as parochial as you want. I don't care about that. It's just that none of us on our own have enough
yeah,
to do it all, to do it in a large enough way. So
absolutely. Yeah,
until that happens, if you want to sit in a little fiefdom, your fiefdom doesn't even have any serfs to till the land. You don't produce anything, and you have no castle either. So like, I don't know what you're protecting, but just like a muddy, wet hole in the ground. And how about let's build something, start putting the stones in place so we actually have something even worth fighting over, if
yeah,
that's even where it gets to. But for me, catch is about not just me and what I want with it, but Billy and Carl and the legacy of all this, the legacy of the people that I've worked with and all the coaches I've had, and seeing what it can be at its highest level if people just want to take it seriously enough.
absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Well, let's make it happen. Let's change the world.
Yeah, indeed. Let's make sure to allow, to let the jujitsu guys know where they got their stuff, just so that they give us that tip of the hat, and we'll give you more. We'll
Yeah,
deliver as much as possible. And every BJJ Fanatics video I put out, I know the majority of people that are going to buy it are going to be BJJ guys and MMA guys, and I don't care. I will absolutely 100% take any compliment that a BJJ guy gives me because they said it's helped them on their journey.
yeah,
And if one of them should be even converted into a catch wrestler, great. But at the end of the day, as long as you're getting out there and you're doing it and you're wrestling on the mats, I'm stoked.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
that's the point.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's just every now and again, whoever's taking the class says, this is a catch wrestling move, you're going to love it,
Mm-hmm.
and shows that instead of, I don't know, the same cross collar choke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and God, if we get into the difference between gi and no gi, we will be here for another couple hours because I have
Oh,
a
mate,
I have a
I,
very specific opinion on that, and that is, if it's no gi, I will not belt you. I will only belt you in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if it's with gi, because that's the way I see it. Otherwise it's just submission wrestling.
yeah, I love gi now. I
Sure.
hated it I hated it because every time I put a gi on, I just got choked out. You suddenly you're covered in handles, you can't move, and every time anyone comes near you, you tap. But I've been doing it long enough now that suddenly the other guy's wearing the handles too,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so it's kind of fun. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
anyway,
look, if there's nothing available to you, go out and do gi
yeah,
grappling. It doesn't matter. Uh, I personally, I hate wearing the gi. I can train in it, I can wrestle, and I compete in it, but I do
you live
not
in
like it. I don't
California,
enjoy it. Yeah, but I'm not going to tell people, oh, you don't have anything available to you but a jujitsu school or a judo school. I'm going to say, go do it,
yeah,
go do it, and put the gi on and use it and be a part. It's still wrestling, and then make your adaptations from there. And again, buy material or find material that is catch related, learn from that with your friends, get together and do things on your own time, and create a little group. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, if things are not exactly the way they want that you would like them to be, that is no reason to just do nothing. Then that is in fact the worst thing you could do.
Yes, absolutely. Change it from the inside.
Mm-hmm. And on the catch side of things, like, guys, gals, be more positive, compete, go out and compete. And if you're not going to be a competitor, maybe be a little less vitriolic, a little less hyperbolic, and stop trying to make a name for yourself from the barbs in your words, and instead, offer good criticism, have dialogue amongst people online, without overarching animosity to dunk or like claim some sort of victory, and just be a part of the process, not against it, because we already have enough of an uphill battle. Not because
Absolutely.
we're not capable, we're low on numbers and low on visibility. So let's do what we can to try and bolster each other up. And whoever the best man is at the end of the day, I'm sure it'll come through. But let's give them a place for that to be decided, and that has to start with all of us putting aside our little pettiness and being bigger people. And look, you could be bigger than me. I'm only 280 or something at this point. Actually, I think I'm like 272, but heavy enough.
I think I'm 272. Yeah, like that's not specific. Look, I'm gonna have we're gonna run out of time again any minute now, and I have to get some sleep at some point because yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. And there's so much that we haven't even said. So maybe we could do it again sometime.
I agree. Would love to. Love the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And we can talk bare knuckle boxing next time. And
Definitely.
bare knuckle boxing, as well as it compares to boxing with the glove and the wraps, because I've done them all.